Hi, today is February 28th, 2023, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 350 for the year, Not a Still. This is not a still of my most recent film. It is a photograph of the screen of my laptop that I took while I was viewing my most recent film. The film itself is called Light Machines and was made yesterday. It was uploaded to my YouTube channel, John S. Hall 1, very early this morning. I would quote from early reviews of my film Light Machines, but there are none as of the time of this writing. But note how the lamp is both featured in the film and reflected off the screen of the laptop. Note the overall lack of balance among the elements in the photograph, and imagine how boring the film, which has a running time of 4 minutes and 27 seconds, must be. Think about how, at the time of this writing, Light Machines has been viewed 10 times, but also how little you are missing if you haven't seen it yet. I believe I have said all of what I have to say about this photograph, which again, I emphasize, is not a still. But if you would care to read some background information about the film that this photograph, which is entitled Not a Still, is based on, kindly see the next poem in the number series, which is entitled Light Machines. Poem number 351, Light Machines, for Susan Dallas Swann. I accidentally made a short abstract film yesterday afternoon. I was sitting on the couch minding my own business when I saw flashes of light to my upper left. I picked up my phone and started shooting. I was thinking of Brakhage a bit, but also of Hollis Frampton's Lemon, but mostly of Susan Dallas Swann. I was dating her daughter, who lived with Susan and Susan's boyfriend, Jerry, in a Tribeca loft back when artists could do shit like that. This was like in the 1950s, except not really. At that time, Susan was doing these installations in Tribeca galleries and once in Grand Central Station, where she had these light machines that she had made, or had made, that would cast light along the walls. I thought it was awesome. She said she was inspired by the headlights of cars that cast their light along the walls of her bedroom when she was a child. I am reminded of this often when I see lights moving along walls. But yesterday I decided to do something about it, and the rest is experimental film history. Poem number 352, The Snow Poems, for ARA and YT, in 5 parts. 1. It took a bit of doing to do what needed doing yesterday in order to avoid the year's first snow. And I didn't avoid it completely, but I did better than I could have hoped. 2. Shortly after this morning's meditation began at around 6:45 a.m., I heard sounds I've heard before, but never before on West End Avenue. The slush of snow into shovel, the scraping of shovel against pavement. 3. Whenever it snows, I know to expect major delays on the subways. Many, if not most, subway operators and conductors live in Long Island or in the western reaches of Queens. It takes them longer to get into work when the weather is bad, and some of them don't make it at all. Because of this, it can be difficult to get a cab, which is the backup plan when the kid can't make it to the subway in time. So it behooved the kid and me to wake up a little earlier than usual and to get out the door a little earlier than usual, which we did. And we slowly walked to the subway. I don't usually walk her all the way down the steps, but the snow can make me cautious. And when we got there, the train was in the station, and the sign said 7 minutes until the next one. It didn't look like she would make it if she took the time to go through the turnstile. I said, "Should we get a cab?" But then I saw a guy going out the exit. I held the door and said, "Go." And she went. I mean, her Metro card gets her in free anyway. It was barely a crime. I have no guilt. In fact, I am proud of her. They say if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. She was 6 or 7 minutes early, so I guess she was late, but she was early enough. 4. On the way home from Trader Joe's, I took a picture of slushy snow. Perhaps tomorrow I will write a poem called Yesterday's Snow. You never know. 5. One of the greatest gifts I have ever received was a hardback copy of the Snow Poems by A.R. Ammons, but it wasn't even the greatest gift you ever gave me. not by a long shot. So thank you. Poem number 353, Onward to the End, also for ARA. By December 13th, 1963, Tape for the Turn of the Year by A.R. Ammons was well underway. On December 6th, he had decided to write a long, thin poem on a 1,000-foot roll of adding machine tape, but by the 13th, he seemed to be getting a little frustrated. He estimated that the poem was close to 40 feet long, and that he couldn't get it out of the typewriter to write letters or postcards, raising the question, did people write postcards on typewriters? With what I imagine might have been some impatience, he wrote this sentence, writing one word per line for the first 14 words. Well, if it must be onward to the end, let's get there in a hurry. Or is that cheating? I get it. 5 poems on weekdays and 7 poems on weekends can feel like a grind sometimes. Sometimes I break a poem up into 2 or more and it feels like cheating. But sometimes, like just a poem ago, I write a poem in multiple parts. In theory, I could have been done for the day by now. Instead, I have one more. So let's get there in a hurry. And the last poem for the day, poem number 354, Study in Color and Black and White. And the final poem of the month will be about study in color and black and white by Brakhage. Because of the weather, I saw snowflakes this morning when I watched it, colored snowflakes, then a snowstorm of color, and then the storm subsided. Rising action, crescendo, falling action, a film, a poem, a symphony. Okay, you could stop now, but I'm going to read that one again. Poem number 354, Study in Color and Black and White. And the final poem of the month will be about study in color and black and white by Brakhage. Because of the weather, I saw snowflakes this morning when I watched it. Colored snowflakes, then a snowstorm of color, and then the storm subsided. Rising action, crescendo, falling action, a film, a poem, a symphony. All right, thank you if you made it through this far. I appreciate it. And tomorrow it's a new month. See you then, perhaps. Thanks.